everyone, welcome to the channel Pharma Focus, and I'm back with another video. And this time, the video is going to be about the careers that you can opt after doing pharmacy in India, or maybe if you're a life sciences graduate, you can definitely pursue career in these fields. So, I won't be covering all the career options after pharmacy in India. These are some of the trending fields that are growing rapidly and they are great career options. I'm going to talk about them, out of which we will be talking about pharmacovigilance, clinical research, regulatory affairs, HEOR, and medical writing. So let's start with the first one. All right, guys, as many of you are already aware about pharmacovigilance or drug safety, so you guys already know what this career is about. So, this is the science of monitoring and ensuring drug safety through detection and assessment of ADRs, which is very common these days, and most of the people who have completed their graduation or post graduation, they are willing to get into this field. So, if we talk about the career path, here you can see that it is some general listed career path, but let's go into the details. And if we talk about the career path and the progression for the entry level positions, you can apply for drug safety associate, pharmacovigilance officer, case processing associate, and in some cases this is also listed as a pharmacovigilance scientist. So there can be other job titles as well, but these are the most common ones, the roles that are designated for this profile. And what are the key tasks that it involves? The case data entry, the adverse event reporting, literature review, coding, initial safety documentation. So this is something very basic, the entry level positions which you get, and the salaries here, they can range depending on your experience, depending on the company you're working with, but it can range in somewhere from 2.5 to 4.8 LPA or maybe more than that. So the second thing is the mid-level, and it is like from 2 to 5 years of experience, where the roles can be as a pharmacovigilance analyst, medical reviewer, signal detection specialist, clinical data manager. So if I talk about these, the medical reviewer is someone who is a physician primarily, who has done MBBS or MD. Most of the companies hire them as the medical reviewers, and the signal detection specialist, you cannot be a signal detection specialist without being a part of a signal detection team first and growing up your skills in signal detection. So yeah, this primarily depends on what you did in your initial years of the career. So the typical salaries can obviously range to up to maybe 10 LPA. If we talk about the senior level positions, that then it includes 5 to 10 plus years of experience, which includes roles as PV manager or as the director or any kind of specialist roles. So this can also range from like 10 to 20 LPA. It depends what experience you have and what role are you applying for. So if we talk about the next section, which is the educational backgrounds and the skills, so this includes primarily most of the companies, they are hired for B pharmacy and M pharmacy. Some of them include the BDS and MDS as well, whereas some life sciences graduates, they are also welcomed into this, like biotechnology, microbiology, and any field that is in any sense related to life sciences can apply for these. And for the advanced qualifications, wherein you are talking about the medical reviewer positions, the drug safety physician positions, so this includes the MBBS, MD, or PharmD. And in general, if we talk about the key skills, then the area reporting, MEDRA, GVP guidelines, and clinical knowledge. Whereas if you're applying as a fresher, as an entry level position, you need to be aware about the key terms used in pharmacovigilance. You need to be aware about the guidelines, what MEDRA is, and how MEDRA works. You can learn it, but you need to be aware more specifically about the guidelines that are followed in PV and the certifications. So you can obviously do any kind of certifications or diplomas in clinical research or in pharmacovigilance or any kind of training that is related to the safety database systems like Argus, RSG, and any kind of trainings that will help you gain access to what and how pharmacovigilance works. But it is not a mandatory point that you need to have a certification and course before applying for the position of a pharmacovigilance scientist or a drug safety associate. You can just apply it with your primary qualifications like BPharm, MPharm, or PTS, so you're equally eligible to apply for that. Other than that, you can have the key skills like understanding of the PV regulations, which involves the ICH, GCP, the good clinical practices, the GVP, the good pharmacovigilance practices, and you can be aware about the various standards that are followed. You can be familiar with the safety database and tools like Argus, Medra, RSG, Vigibase, etc. And you need to have a strong analytical and communication skills, the attention to details, and the scientific writing skills. So, most of the key employers and the locations in India include the pharmaceutical companies like Sun Pharma, Biocon, Cipla, and there are various contract research organizations that work on the behalf of the pharma companies. So, these include Parexel, Icon, Medvigil, and Continuum. And there are some IT, BPO, and KPO firms also which are involved and they offer the PV services to the pharma clients on their behalf. So these include the TCS, Cognizant, Wipro. Whereas now there are the regulatory and government bodies as well in India, which includes the PVPI, that is the Pharmacovigilance Program of India, PVPI, and SEDISCO. So at regular intervals, you may encounter the vacancies posted by PVPI, and then there are various health tech firms too that offer the PV services, and you may find vacancies in that. So the regional hubs, the major centers where you can find the vacancies for PV include Hyderabad, Bangalore, Mumbai, Chennai, Noida, Delhi, and Pune. All right. So that's all for the pharmacovigilance part. So now I'll be talking about. Next, let's talk about the clinical research. Now, clinical research generally involves the design, the conduct, monitoring of the clinical trials, and analysis of clinical trials for drugs, vaccines, or medical devices. So, the basic goal here is to evaluate the safety, efficacy, and the quality of all these medical interventions. And likewise, there is a general pathway which I have listed here, which includes the clinical research coordinator, clinical research associate, clinical trial manager, project manager, and this can obviously vary from company to company. So, if we talk about the entry level roles in this, we have clinical research associates, trainees who monitor the clinical trials and ensures compliance. Then we have the clinical research coordinator who manages the day-to-day site operations. And there can be some roles where there is clinical data associate and data entry who handle the trial data and ensure accuracy. So it involves the mid-level roles like clinical data manager, clinical research associate who are involved in independent monitor trials after you gain a certain kind of experience. Obviously, you are going to do the things independently, and you need to prepare reports, ensure that the database integrity, and prepare the data sets for analysis. So next we have the senior level roles in this, which include the project manager, senior CRA. So this can include the coordination between the cross-functional teams. Some biostatisticians are also involved in these, who are into the designing of trials and performing the data analysis. And overall, the last step, which is the director, the oversees clinical research department, is the function of the director or the head of the clinical operations. So, if we talk about the educational qualifications, these include primarily the bachelor's degree, the B Pharm, M Pharm, PharmD, or any kind of master's degree is also eligible. MBBS, BDS, or any other life sciences. So the specialized programs, there are some specialized programs related to clinical research, and it's really okay to do them if you need to gain experience and upgrade your knowledge. And if I talk about the key skills, then it includes the knowledge of ICH GCP guidelines and the regulatory standards. So you can find many online courses these days related to ICH GCP guidelines, and you have the full access to any kind of guidelines. All of them are available all over the internet. You can go through them and learn through them. So you need to understand the clinical trial protocols. What are those? The informed consent, the ethics, and in data management and statistical skills, you can have a familiarity with Excel, SAS. And if I talk about the communication and coordination skills, then you need to have a good level of communication and good amount of coordination skills to have a good interaction with investigators, sponsors, and regulators. And you need to have the attention to detail, problem solving, and documentation skills. So, if I talk about the certifications, there are a few which are carried out in India, which includes the ICRI Clinical Research Certification, Cliniminds Clinical Research Professional Certification. That entirely depends on you. There are many others too. So it entirely depends on you that if you're willing to do it or not. The other part is the contract research organizations. They hire in these roles. For example, see, Parexel, Icon, Syneos Health, and some pharmaceutical companies like Sun Pharma, Dr. Reddy's, Novartis, they also hire for the same. Whereas you have an equal opportunity in the hospitals and the research institutions like AIMS, Apollo Hospitals, and some other good chains. Then we have the government and academia option here as well, which includes ICMR, CSIR, and clinical trial units that are in the universities. So again, the salary expectations, it varies from based on your experience and based on what sector you're working in, but it can go up to 15 LPA or plus. And it also varies, the salary also varies depending on the city you're working in, and obviously the organization size. Next, let's talk about another career option, which is in regulatory affairs. So, regulatory affairs is a specialized field that ensures the safety, efficacy, and quality of the healthcare products, that they comply with the national and the international regulations. International regulations that may include FDA, EMA, Health Canada, or MHRA, etc. So, if I talk about the career path, we have the entry level positions like regulatory affairs associate, where you are primarily focused on preparing, submitting, and maintaining the regulatory documents. You can work on the clinical trial applications, the marketing authorization submissions, labeling, and the product variations. We have a role of regulatory affairs manager as well, who oversees the team, manages the regulatory strategies, and communicates with the health authorities. And you need to ensure that the regulatory compliance is followed throughout the product life cycle. If I talk about the senior level positions, then it includes the regulator affairs director or the head, where there are the senior leadership roles, and they represent the company in global regulatory forums and authority inspections. One another job role here is the regulatory policy intelligence specialist who tracks the evolving global regulations and advises the team on the compliance. Then there are labeling and compliance specialists who develop and review the product labels, the packaging inserts, and the promotional materials to meet the regulatory standards. Um, there is another job role which is the regulatory consultant. Now, this role involves providing the strategic advice to the companies, often in the niche markets like orphan drugs, biologics, medical devices. If I talk about the industries that employ the regulatory affairs professionals, so this includes the pharmaceutical and the biotech companies, or medical devices, diagnostics, food and nutraceuticals, the contract research organizations, regulatory agencies, and health authorities. So the major essential skills that you need to have for being a regulator affair professional, it includes the knowledge of ICH, FDA, EMA, and other regional guidelines. You need to have strong and scientific technical writing skills, the project management and cross-functional collaboration, attention to detail, and analytical thinking, of course. And if I talk about the career growth, then it starts from primarily from regulatory associate as entry level positions, and it can go to senior levels in 10 plus years. And the certifications and educations include degree in life sciences, in pharmacy, in biotechnology, medicine, chemistry, and you can obviously always do the advanced certifications, which includes the RAC, the Regulatory Affairs Certification by RAPS. And then we have the Regulatory Affairs Training Postgraduate programs also, so you can pursue them as well. Okay, so the other career option is HEOR. Now let's talk about that. So HEOR is a career option where there is the analysis of economic, clinical, humanistic impact of the healthcare interventions, and it involves cost effectiveness, budget impact modeling, real world evidence, and health technology assessment, which helps in guiding of reimbursement, pricing, and assess decisions in healthcare. So this is one of very good career option, I would say. And if we talk about the roles or the career paths and the typical roles that are in India, then it involves HEOR analyst, junior researcher, evidence synthesis specialist. So these people, they just basically focus on the systematic literature reviews, the basic modeling, and data analytics. And then there are some mid-level roles in this, which involves the HEOR consultant, the research managers, the modeling specialist. And likewise, we have the senior level positions where there are senior manager HEOR modeling, HEOR value writing leaders, global HEOR managers, and then there are specialist roles in this sector, which may involve decision analytics consultant, senior data scientist. And if we talk about the salary landscape, then it ranges from somewhere around 9 LPA to 16.5 LPA, and it can definitely range and vary depending on your experience and the organization you are working for. And if we talk about the educational qualifications, then B Pharm, M Pharm, Pharm D, and Masters in Health Economics, Public Health, Epidemiology, Life Sciences, or Economics. And it usually depends on what company you're applying for, because the qualifications may vary, and the skills that you need to learn for this involve the biostatistics, the health modeling, SAS, data analytics, HEOR modeling, RWE, design, data analysis, and there are a lot more. And if we talk about the leading employers and locations in India, then the pharma and the biotech firms hire in this sector, which includes Sanofi, Amgen, Takeda, Sandoz, and there are some options of consulting in RWE firms as well, which involve IQVIA, ZS, Insight Alpha. So majorly the offices and the hubs for HEOR is Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, Pune, Chennai, and Gurugram. Right, so the next option which we have here is the medical writing. Medical writing generally involves the creation of clear, accurate, and well structured documents that are related to medicine and healthcare. Now, these documents are intended for, they may be intended for like various audience, which may include healthcare professionals, regulatory bodies, or general public. So, the primary goal of a medical writer is to communicate complex medical information effectively. And if we talk about the career path here, then you may start as associate medical writer 1. And if talking about the mid levels, then it involves medical writer 2, senior medical writer, and then we have the senior levels where we have the principal medical writer, medical writing manager, or lead. So, depending on your job role, your responsibilities, they vary. And the educational qualifications include the bachelor's in pharmacy or medicine or in life sciences or any other related field that is related to health or medicine. And then the master's degree is an optional thing. Some of the companies do hire for the bachelor's degree as well. So, in the fields like public health, clinical research, or medical writing, you can do your master's. And for those people who are having more of interest in the medical writing, they have the specialized or academic writing rules. So the PhD is also an option. And if we talk about the key skills, then you need to have the understanding of medical and clinical concepts, and you should have the ability to write clearly and concisely, and definitely and a great attention to details, good amount of regulatory knowledge, and you must be able to complete and meet the deadlines and manage multiple projects. Likewise, the communication skills, which have to be really really effective. And if you're thinking about starting a career in medical writing, just to give you a boost to your already skills that you are having, you can do various certification courses, maybe the professional diplomas that will help you to gain more knowledge, and that will help you to get an idea of how industry focused things are. And the job sectors in India here include the pharmaceutical companies again, the CROs, the regulatory bodies, and the healthcare providers. There can be medical communications agencies as well who hire for this role. And salary ranges from 3 lakh per annum to it can go up to 12 plus per annum, depending on your experience, location, and organization again. So the demand for the medical writers in India is expected to grow because there is a need to increase for clear and accurate medical documentation, and so this is a great career option. So, to summarize this, let's say we have the career options that are listed on my screen, that are the trending options, and we have pharmacovigilance, in which we talked about drug safety and reporting. Then we have clinical research, in which the clinical trials and data management is involved. Then the third one is the regulatory affairs, where we talk about the compliance and the approvals. Then we have HEOR, which is the health economics outcome research related to the market research. And then we have the medical writing, which is about the scientific communication and presenting a clear info of complex medical information. So, India is a global hub for pharma outsourcing and making these fields high in demand. So, that's all for this video. I hope you guys like it. And if I will be making a video, a detailed video, I would say, on all of these career options. Again, this was just an introductory video, and I hope you guys like the video and find it meaningful. So do subscribe my channel and like and comment if in any case you have questions. Thank you so much.